Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Otts here, and it's Wednesday morning. The Raptors are playing the Knicks tonight, and also the Raptors 905 are playing the Osceola Magic. And we've got a double header tonight of action with both the Raptors teams. So I hope you're ready for that. The games will be on at the same time. So yeah, double watching duties. I mean, I'll be favoring watching the Knicks game, but that 905 game's interesting to me also. I appreciate Nako for calling me and let me know that my audio cut out on the first take. I'm going to go ahead and go through and do the whole spiel again. And don't worry, I got your comments still. I'm going to cover them here also. So, yeah, I'm back up and running. You can't hold the Raptor Freak down for too long. We're coming back. We had an earthquake here last night. It was crazy. Yeah, an earthquake here. Lots to talk about today, but let's go ahead and get into it right now with the latest lineup news. First of all, I'd just like to say for the Raptors tonight that Colin Murray-Boyles is questionable. He is not out. He practiced fully yesterday with the Raptors. We heard him. They said he was practicing fully. And then Jakob, he practiced but non-contact. So he is day-to-day, but he is not going to play tonight for sure. Chucky Hepburn is out also, but Colin Murray-Boyles is questionable and could play tonight. So we may see a barbecue combo, a notorious barbecue combo to start for the Raptors tonight, which would be awesome. Now, as I said, the Raptors 905 are playing against the Osceola Magic tonight. So let's go ahead and do their referees real quick. Their crew chief tonight in the game is Claudio Mula. He is out of Albania. Brent Haskell is the referee, and Jessica Christopher is the umpire for the Raptors 905 at Osceola, game number 2. They lost to Osceola in the last game, and they're currently on a 3-game losing streak, which is not normal for 905 with how undefeated they've been all year. And, well, we found out yesterday that Elijah Martin and AJ Lawson have been sent to Osceola to help the 905, and they will be available to Andrew Jones. So the two ways have been diverted to Florida and will not be available for the Knicks game tonight. But Jonathan Mobo is still with the Raptors. He did not go to Florida, but the other two guys did. They need Elijah and AJ down in Florida. Just trust me. They need him. They need him. Trust me. All right, we'll look at the refs for let's look at the injuries real quick for the Knicks. There's nothing. The Knicks are wide open and healthy. There's no problems with the Knicks. Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Karl Anthony Towns, Miles McBride, Landry Shamet, Gershon Yabusele, Mitchell Robinson, Tyler Kolek, Jordan Clarkson, Mohamed Diawara, Ariel Huckleporty, Kevin McCullar Jr., Pacome Daddier, and Trey Jemison III. That's pretty much the lineup for the Knicks. Recently, they have been losing more than winning in some ways. They have won 3 straight recently, but they're 3 out of their last 7. And honestly, pretty much since New Year's, they've only won 5 games and they've lost 9. So they're 5-9 since the New Year started. So they have been sliding. They have been sliding. The Knicks have been losing way more often than they did before. They have 2 4-game losing streaks in the last month. So they're susceptible. They're a team that can be gotten because of that. So, yeah. Yeah. Thank you for calling me, Gerald, by the way. I appreciate that. Let's see. Referees for tonight. As I was going over, the replay center will have Giamidis Petratus, Jenna Renault, Jenna Schroeder, and Leon Wood in Secaucus. And on the ground, we got Mark Davis as our crew chief tonight. I'm not happy about this really at all. Mark Davis, of course, railroaded us in the game against Charlotte recently in the last fall. And, well, he's not a good ref. Number 8. I'm not even going to do his stuff. He's in his 28th season out of Chicago. I read all this shit already on the previous stream that I did earlier. I won't do it again. But Mark Davis, we are 1-2 this season so far. We did lose the last game he refed, which I do think was that Charlotte game that he put in overtime and where we lost in Charlotte. That was the end of our 9-game winning streak. Remember? Yeah, we're 48 winning percentage under Mark Davis history wise, and the Knicks are 51%. So 48-51 for the Knicks with the crew chief Mark Davis, who is not to be trusted. He is definitely an NBA hit job artist, and he will do things tonight to try and help the Knicks win. So be understanding that. The second ref is a much better ref, Eric Dalen, the tight end out of University of Minnesota in his 18th season, number 37. Yeah, I'm not going to go over all his stuff either because I already did that spiel. But he has a really good record with us. We have only seen him once this year. We did lose. We are 59% winning with Eric Dalen present, and the Knicks are 45% winning. So 59 to 45 for the Raptors with the second ref, Eric Dalen. The third ref is a rookie ref from Chicago, Biniam Maru, number 94, his first season. He is goofy, man. Let's just put it that way. We've seen him once. He refereed one game for us this season for the Raptors, and we lost. So we're 0-1 in our record with the third ref, Biniam Maru. And the Knicks have seen him twice, and they've won one and lost one. So they're 500. So 0 to 50 is the split with the very, very green young rookie, Biniam Maru. And we lost the first game with him that he ever ref for the Raptors. This will be the second game he's ever refed. He's from Chicago, just like Mark Davis. So I'm worried that he's like a little protege of Mark Davis. So yeah, the ref crew is troubling. Let's just put it that way. Mark Davis as the crew chief is not a good thing because in some ways he's like Scott Foster and Ed Malloy. He will try and write storylines for Adam Silver in the head office. And obviously when it comes to the Knicks and the Raptors, they want the Knicks to win. They want that. Now, this is an interesting situation where the Knicks and the Raptors got to play in the knockout round of the in-season tournament. So there was an extra game added to the season between the Knicks and the Raptors. Normally, we don't play them 4 games. But because we had that knockout game, we get them 5 times this year. They beat us the first 2 times we played them. So the series is 2-0 for the Knicks. But if we beat them the 3 games, we win the series, right? If we can win the next 3 games against them. So we need to start tonight. And we need to beat them. The other thing about it is the standings, that we're tied in the standings for third with them. So one of us is going up, one of us is going down. We have 29 wins and 19 losses. Does Scotty want 30 wins or 20 losses first? Go get the 30 wins, Scott. Equal your win total from last year tonight by beating the Knicks. So, yeah, there's a lot on stake here, just like with the G League team, too. They're battling for the number 1 in the Eastern Conference against Osceola Magic, who are currently number 1 because they beat us the last game and took it from us. So Andrew Jones and those guys have a lot of pride to try and beat the Osceola Magic and get back on top in the Eastern Conference of the G League. So there's a lot of ramifications here tonight. 2 very important games that are both competitive because of who we're playing and all that. So, yeah, words of wisdom with Trevor J real quick. Success isn't about how fast you move. It isn't about how long you're willing to keep going. You know what? Wait, success isn't about how fast you move. Isn't about how long you're willing to keep going. What is it about then? I mean, I feel like I keep going and it's not how fast I'm moving, but it's the solid everyday 9:30 that I've been doing for 4 years now. So that's pretty solid, I guess. I don't know. Blessings to the Jones family, all the Raptor Freak families. There you go. Trevor's saying happy game day, beat the Knicks tonight. They're on a back-to-back. Yeah, this has been happening where the Raptors have been having favorable matchups because the team we're playing has a back-to-back, and they played the night before. And the Knicks played against the Sacramento Kings last night in Madison Square Garden. And DeMar DeRozan was the only guy who showed up for the Kings, and he carried. He had like 30-something points. Absolutely amazing performance by DeMar, but not enough from the rest of the team, and the Knicks won. But they played last night, and they had to travel and go across the border. So this could be a real factor of favoritism and strength for the Raptors, seen as the Knicks are on a back-to-back. And the Raptors have been back in Toronto for a couple of days since the win over Oklahoma City. You know, the Raptors have been filming stuff like them being in a lunchroom when Emmanuel got Eastern Conference Player of the Week and the reaction of them, and also recognizing Colin Murray-Boyles and Elijah Martin for making the Rising Stars team also. So, yeah, we've been getting a little bit of footage of Open Gym behind the scenes this recently of all kinds of cool stuff lately. That's right. Trevor's bringing up that Colin is going to be on Team Carmelo for the Rising Stars game. They did a draft with Vince and Tracy and Carmelo Anthony. And well, fuck you, former Raptors guys. You guys are turncoat villains. And the fact that you let Colin fall so far in that Rising Stars draft is a travesty. You guys are idiots. And the fact that neither one of the former Raptor guys got Colin on their team, they're idiots for that too. So fuck you, Vince Carter, on your birthday week. And Tracy, I'm disappointed in you. You guys should know better. You know Colin Murray-Boyles is a badass. How could y'all let him slip so far in the draft? Seriously, for Rising Stars. And Carmelo, you're smart because you went and got him. You're smart. Monique is here. Superfan Mo will be going to the game tonight to represent the Raptor Freak family in the Scotiabank Arena against the Knicks. So I hope that things go really well tonight. She brings the good vibes and we get that W. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Let's lock in and get both wins. Colin Murray-Boyles on Team Carmelo. Glorilla has been announced to be playing in the celebrity game on Friday night also. Brandon Ingram's girlfriend is put her hand up and says, I would like to play. And she's going to be joining people like Shams. Apparently, Shams is going to be playing in this game, too. The old breaking news head, the crazy man who can't keep away from his 5 phones because he has to always be breaking news. I wonder if he's going to be out there monitoring his phone on the court while he's trying to dribble because he's got to be on top of the trade news and the rumors. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Shams says he has a good shot and that he's been getting pointers from former Raptors champion Danny Green. So, yeah, Shams, Glorilla, 2 of the celebrity participants in the NBA celebrity game on Friday night. So we'll have to see. Glorilla's not singing. She's playing basketball, y'all, which will be interesting to see. Yeah, she's not performing, G. She's going to be playing in the celebrity game, which is interesting. Yeah, I don't think she's actually singing. If she does, she may do a performance, but the announcement yesterday is that she's playing in the basketball game, just so you know. Yeah, let's keep going. Kesper is saying, yeah, so she's doing both. You guys are saying she's doing both? Okay. She probably is going to perform in 2. That's probably right. But I was focusing more on the fact that she's going to play in the game, which is interesting. Nago's saying Detroit's better than the Knicks. Okay, Nako. Okay, the head-to-head record, I haven't seen them play against each other. I haven't paid attention to their head-to-head record. But, I mean, that checks because of the standings. Okay. I mean, sometimes you can't make blanket statements like this because it's not until the playoffs you find out who's actually better than each other. You know, the Knicks fans going to come in here and say, whoa, Nacho the Nacho just said the Pistons are better than us. How does he know that? Well, he's saying that because of the record and the standings. In some ways, I mean, that's like kind of like saying water's wet because it's like, yeah, the records are better. So, like, Detroit is better than New York. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a weird statement in some ways. Casper is saying this. Anyone know if the Knicks played their whole roster last night versus the Kings? Yeah, I was kind of looking at it. They played their main guys. And they played the shortened 9-man roster, like rotation. Yeah, they did. It was Jalen Brunson was the leading scorer, and Cat and OG had to do a lot of the work. So, yeah. Yeah, they did. They got a full game in last night. That's right. They got a full game in last night. Milbester's here. My team's facing the Raptors again already. You know, this is an interesting thing, Milbester. The Knicks and the Raptors will play 5 times this year, and each time in a different month. That's the crazy thing. We played y'all in October, and we played y'all in November, and we're going to play you in January. We're going to play you in March, and we're going to play you in April. So we're going to get a chance to see where each team is at different stages in the year and see who's improved and who has gotten worse as the year goes on. And I'll tell you right now, Milbester, y'all are going to find out tonight how much more improved the Raptors are since the last time you saw them in that in-season tournament knockout game. Yeah, you're going to find out, Milbester. 5 games against the Knicks this year, and we're down 2-0. If we want to win this series, Scotty, we got to start beating the Knicks tonight. That's what I'm saying right there. That's right. Kesper's saying, yeah, people need the cash flow these days. I don't even know what that means. What are you talking about right there? That's right. So, yeah, my audio went out for a second on the original pass on the stream. And I appreciate Gerald once again calling me and let me know. It was working for the start of the stream. It worked for like the first 15 minutes. And then I guess something knocked out or something. So hopefully it's still working. I see the green dots going on my production studio right now, so that's good. Technically, today's stream is my 1,600th stream. I know. I was looking at the playlist and it said 1599, and today is 1600. So 1,600 straight days of Raptor Freak streams over 4.5 years now. Wow. That seems so crazy to me. In some ways, that's like stressing me out because that seems like a lot of work. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. All right, let's see. Nako's saying loud and clear. All right, cool. I'm glad it's back on par. And I said all kinds of stuff. One of the things I did was I was roasting William Liu and Hello and Welcome for their drop yesterday of Grady Dick interview from the fall of last year. I don't understand why y'all take so long to drop this. It's not timely when you're talking about the 9-game winning streak on the thing, which was an 8-game winning streak when they filmed that. It's like they did some goofy Gillette commercial where they really, I knew it was all downhill as soon as they brought out the Gillette executive with Grady. And then they brought out some handsome guy and they sat him in a barber chair and they started shaving his face. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's like, I'm like, what the fuck is this, man? So it's like, William Liu, at this point, you're not a journalist, you're not a fan, you're a salesperson. Because like you guys have shamelessly corporate endorsed all kinds of stuff on your channel. In fact, you're looking for the advertisers and you're trying to make money in your life from doing this. I mean, I can't get mad at you for that, I guess. But at the same time, it's kind of like it's cheesy and cheap, and I don't respect it as a person. I just don't in some ways. And I'll go ahead and say straight goods on Canadian goods, Sprague Cannery. But the reason why I want to endorse Sprague is because they don't get any advertising. It's like Gillette gets so much advertising. It's not like they need your help, William Liu, but Sprague needs my help because this is a Canadian cannery that puts out baked beans. And, you know, most people are just buying Bush's baked beans and other baked beans that are from the States that they've just bought blindly for their whole life. But I want to tell everybody there's an alternative. If you want to buy Canadian for baked beans, Sprague is your label. And you would get some brand familiarity with the Canadian brands. And we got two different varieties here. We got the Prince Edward County and we got the Maritime baked beans. Very Canadian. So, yeah, straight goods on Canadian goods. Support Sprague and don't buy Bush's beans or any of those other American companies, Heinz or whatever. Buy these ones because we know this is staying in our economy and helping to build more jobs in Canada. So seriously, there was nothing of substance in that interview with Grady Dick. Basically, let's like watch your TikTok movies and watch a man get his goatee shaved off. Like, what the fuck was that? Seriously. And once again, I'll say real quick, William Liu, you're mean, bro. Why'd you bully Alex Wong in the middle of that interview? Just because Alex Wong is 40 doesn't mean you need to make fun of him. You're ageist, and you're gonna find out when you get older, William Liu. That seriously, it's going to happen to everybody. And in some ways, the foolishness of young people to make fun of older people, well, you find out someday if you get the privilege to grow to be as old as us, is what I say on that. So yeah, ageism sucks. And people thinking just because you're a certain age, you can't do things, you're crazy. You come see this 50-year-old man, see what I can do, and understand it ain't the normal 50-year-old. So yeah, you come see what this 50-year-old can do. I'll show you real fast. If you think I'm old at 50 years old. Yeah, I don't think Alex Wong's that old, man. I don't. They had them do goofy shooting, like shooting the shots, and Grady analyzed their shot. And it just wasn't fair to Alex Wong with his goofy two-handed release. Oh, what a horrible segment, honestly. Got a release from Fred yesterday, which was fantastic. Once again, the 8th episode of Fred VanVleet Unguarded came out, and he is all on time with things. And the best and most important part of that podcast with Fred that dropped yesterday is that he opined on the Dylan Brooks, DeMar DeRozan beef and what Dylan said recently. If anybody's going to have a good opinion that's in the middle of all this, it's the former teammates of DeMar and Dylan, Fred VanVleet. And well, he said straight up, this is obviously that these guys don't like each other. And this is where this is coming from. And then he also said what I said the other day. Dylan's trying to be controversial to do what he does. And he took offense to what Dylan said. Fred being a Raptor, Fred being somebody who was playing with DeMar during the years of when we butted heads with LeBron James and lost in the playoffs a few years in a row. He understands this from inside because he was there and he saw it and he saw how hard DeMar works. And in some ways, he said, Dylan, you go ahead, have your opinion about DeMar DeRozan and all the fans. He said that to the fans and stuff like that. But he said also, he's like, I don't believe in erasing legacies. I think that DeMar's legacy in the Raptors is concrete and can't be messed with. And he went on to name a whole bunch of former Raptors that he thought need to be honored because of that. And he named Chris Bosh and Vince. And I'm like, but he's like, yeah, DeMar's like, you can't take that away from him and what he did. And honestly, Dylan's take on DeMar is such a toxic Raptor fan take. We hate DeMar because he failed for us and he never got the championship. Well, Freddie very much reiterated what we say on this channel, that the 2019 championship for the Raptors does not happen without the work built up by DeMar DeRozan in the years before. And yeah, he took issuance with this. In fact, he was in some ways I could tell he was a little pissed at disrespect towards his friend DeMar DeRozan. So yeah, check out the new Unguarded podcast with Fred VanVleet. He goes in depth on Dylan Brooks dissing the hell out of DeMar DeRozan recently. There's a lot of other stuff they're talking about on that podcast is really good too. All right, this is not a call-in day. Y'all keep calling me. This is a preview day. We're not reacting, but Seymour's calling me, so we'll listen to him. Good morning, Seymour.
What's going on? Two things I wanna chime in. One, Dylan Brooks. I think the situation with Dylan Brooks is his arch nemesis is LeBron James.
Yeah.
His goal is to be better than LeBron. He doesn't view anybody else in the league on his level.
He's ridiculous.
LeBron James. That's how Dylan Brooks looks at it, right? So now the thing with DeRozan, he's upset because LeBron being his arch nemesis and the person he looks at like, I got to be better than this guy because that's who he punks off. And with DeMar losing to his arch nemesis, it just adds to he's just throwing himself in the mix in the conversation, right? Because controversy sells. Like,
yeah. I get that.
I know a couple guys out here who played in the CFL, and I always ask them because they always say to me, I was a guy who just played the game. I didn't talk to the reporters and this and that. And I said to them, don't you think that sort of hurts your career by not engaging with the fans, not engaging with reporters? I know a guy who didn't even have an agent. And I said, bro, I get it, being responsible and everything, and you want to do everything the way you want it to go, but you sort of hurt your own career by not engaging like that. And
it could go either way. You could do that kind of stuff and absolutely hurt your career.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But I think Dylan Brooks he knows the top of the food chain is LeBron. Even at age 40, they're still talking about him. And he's like, man, this guy's in his mind, he's looking at LeBron like LeBron's garbage, but LeBron is the top of the food chain right now for that position. You know what I mean? So I think he just incorporates the DeMar hate off DeMar failing against
it's totally unnecessary. And honestly, I lost respect for Dylan for doing that. And I think that Fred on the down low lost respect for him too for doing that. And your argument for why he did it is I get it. And I agree with you completely. I still think it's cheap and low class. And I think that it's in some ways, because this is what Fred said. He said, Dylan grew up in Toronto. He was a Raptors fan growing up, and he was watching, DeMar and Kyle play for the Raptors as a fan before he was old enough to play in the NBA. Right. And that's where it comes from. But I don't think it's as deep as that. I mean, I think that it's just a cheap shot. I think it's a troll comment that he could have seen on Reddit or social media somewhere. He's like, yeah, I want to go ahead and take this and run with this and go forward with this. We have seen a history where him and DeMar get into it in games and push each other. So they don't like each other. And that's the main part of it right there. Forget about LeBron's part of it in it. It's not anything to do with that totally. It's really more about the fact that Dylan Brooks is using his tactics to get under the skin of opponents that he has. And he's in the Western Conference, so he plays the Kings pretty regularly. So I think that's it. I think that's it right there.
All right, and the second thing, you're gonna get to it in the comment section. Somebody said something about the chemistry between IQ and Grady. I just want to touch on this real quick. I believe that IQ, because you guys say I don't know IQ like that, but you guys say IQ is like a godly. He's a very like religious person, a godly man, right?
Yes.
I think due to the fact that he's a straightforward person, because you have a lot of people who don't listen to the new hip hop that's out. They're like, oh,
yeah,
he
doesn't at all. IQ's already said that. I've heard that say in the interview that he listens to Christian music and he does not listen to current music.
And when you look at Grady, Grady's a very in-tuned person. Grady's always up to the time of the newest song that's coming out. Grady will bump to it, make a little video on TikTok.
I don't know if that's for sure, but I mean, I would say that's probably true.
Well, the main thing, I think their personalities don't mix, but at the end of the day, they're human beings. Like, at the end of the day, they just have a job to do. Go out there and play. I just think that IQ is a more straightforward person, probably goes to church, like you say, listens to gospel hip-hop. You know, he's not into that whole lively urban culture of the more what Grady listens to. Grady listens to more A$AP Rocky, like, you know, Future, Young G. Like,
we don't know. We don't know any of that for sure, but we can infer that may be true. I would say this. You know, people are trying to fill in questions and answers for why Grady sucks this year. That's the whole point of the things that are going on with talking about Grady. And they see certain things on the court and they think RQ's frees them out. They think that the two of them aren't getting along, but I think it's all kind of bullshit. I don't think it's true, actually. I may even said it on here a little bit where it seems like there's a problem with them, but I don't think there is actually a problem with them.
I don't think there's a problem either. I'm not saying there's a problem between them. I say it's one guy likes one thing and the other guy is another.
Yeah, but like, that never ever was ever a problem on any team for the most part. I mean, Bruce Brown with his country, you know, Garrett Temple's coming in with the old jams from the 90s and stuff like that. You know, you got different musical tastes and different kind of cultural like people on your teams, and they, you know, that's never really part of the issue. I think that.
So you're saying that Bruce Brown was accepted with open arms in Toronto? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he was. They loved him in the locker room, and they played his country music before the games and got into it. You know, they started wearing cowboy boots and stuff the games. Remember? So I would say this. I think that people, in the absence of understanding why Grady Dick has had a down year, they want to fill in the blanks and make answers for it. Whereas I think it's just very simple. He's adjusting to an off the bench role. He's not getting as much time to produce, and he is not getting the best output and production in the times when he's getting out there. And he has to adjust, and he's still adjusting. And in some ways, it's easy for us to kind of say, well, it's this person holding him back, or it's this or this. But it's actually probably really just simple. It's just that he's going through growing pains, and it has nothing to do with any of his other teammates. So
yeah. I never really mentioned anything about his game or anything like that.
Well, that's the only thing we should be talking about when it comes to Grady is like, I'm not worried about talking about feuds. I'm not worried about talking about possible problems with him and IQ. I want to talk about what's wrong with his game and how he fixes it and how he gets back on track. Because all that other stuff is just speculation and in a lot of ways waste of time and stuff. But I'll see that comment when I get to it, and we'll go from there. You don't want to do 2 more quarters just real quick, or are you good?
No, I'm good. This comment section is pretty long. You probably got to get back on that.
Yeah. I had a false start. I mean, I did my whole spiel. I did a half hour of the show, and then my mic conked out. So I need to keep moving because I'm behind. And there is other stuff that I want to go over today for the stream. So, but either way, I appreciate you calling, Seymour, and I hope things are nice. Did you hear that we had an earthquake here last night?
No, I didn't. No. I haven't even jumped on the internet or nothing. I just came in.
I was sitting in my living room watching TV around 11 p.m. last night, and I thought it was just a really strong wind. It like blew where the roof rumbled. It went and like I just like, whoa, that's a really strong wind. And then I got on Reddit and somebody said, hey, what was that, just an earthquake just now? And it was. They had an earthquake that was just east of Lake Simcoe last night. And the rumblings of the earthquake were felt all the way through the Greater Toronto area, all the way across the lake to St. Catharines.
Holy.
Like it was a wave, like it came through. It was only like a 3.7 on the Richter scale, but it was enough that it made you notice. I was like, whoa, that's a big windstorm. But no, I didn't realize it was the ground moving underneath me. And I've never, ever heard of an earthquake like that in Ontario. So I'm just going to say,
at this time of the year, like in the winter, like it's weird.
I think that may be part of the reason why it happened, was because they call them frost quakes. Like there can be a phenomena where you have an earthquake partly because it's so cold. And
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, and the plate tectonics like are shifting partly because of changes in freezing and melting and stuff like that. I think that's how it happens. So
shit, I hope you're right, because I'm sitting here thinking the way the world's going right now with these countries all beefing, I'm hoping it's not like weather warfare or something going on. But let's go with the frost break, or what do you say? What do you call it?
Frost quake.
Yeah,
Listen. I would also say, like, look, climate change manifests in just really strange, abnormal weather events. And an earthquake in Ontario last night was jarring. It was harmless. There was no damage, no casualties or anything. But it's also kind of like, that is not normal. That is a little bit different than what's normal around here. That's for sure. So
you guys had like minus, what would you guys have yesterday? Minus 20?
Yeah, it's been consistently between minus 30 and minus 10 for like the last 5 days.
And we had plus 6 yesterday over here. So that would make sense, the different.
It all evens out. You guys get really bad weather at other times.
Yeah, it's coming. Yeah, we're going to get it in like March, April or something like that. But for the next 2 weeks, we got like plus 6 out here.
Yeah. So. But anyway, on the earthquake. It's just kind of crazy. Yeah. Anyway.
Y'all stay safe out there, man. Love y'all, man.
All right. Love you too. Seymour. Thank you. Yeah. Not expecting the call from Seymour right there, man. That's pretty cool, man. That's right. Super fan. Good morning, Rapid Free Crew. Good morning to you, super fan Mo. And I know you're going to go down the game and rep us right. And let's get that win against the Knicks tonight. I'm all about that. Seymour saying Nets versus Suns was a classic. Brooks is my MVP this season outside of the great Raptors. I need that jersey, Brooks. I mean, it's impressive, like Dylan, what he's done with the Phoenix Suns, because like, what if they really switched from that team last year that was so bad? Like they had a really bad record with Kevin Durant, and now they're one of the top Western teams by bringing in Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks. This is crazy. This is so, I wouldn't have guessed this. I would have thought they would have stayed down near the bottom of the Western Conference, but no, they've risen up and they've been doing so well. And that's just weird to me, because it shouldn't have been like that. You'd think the ingredients going out and the ones coming in would mean a less talented team, but no. And we also were clowning the Suns last summer for having a glut of shooting guards and like no other positions. I was like, what is this team? Grayson Allen, Devin Booker, Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green. These guys all play the same position. Who the hell are they going to be? But, well, it's working. And it's very interesting about them. Yeah. So, yeah, I in some ways I'm respecting Dylan on the court, but I'm not off the court. And that the stray shots for DeMar DeRozan, absolutely unnecessary. And I'm glad Fred spoke out on this on his Unguarded podcast. There's so many interesting things Fred's talking about on Unguarded. He talks about gambling in depth and how he's against the gambling around the NBA at this point, because he thinks that there's more trouble that's going to come from it than it's worth. And the other thing he said is straight up is the players don't get anything from the gambling. And in some ways but the NBA is saying we don't get anything from the gambling either. And so it's like, why are you even opening yourself up to this? So that these gambling corporations can just make tons of money off y'all with all the risk in the world. Fred talked a lot about the different types of gambling that he thinks should be allowed and what shouldn't be allowed. And he is very much with me on against prop betting. And if it's team betting, that's okay. But individual prop betting on certain things, that's a problem. And Fred said, well, we haven't had this problem yet in the NBA. And I'm like, dude, Jonte, hello. Did you forget about Jonte Porter? Hello, Fred. He's like, man, until we have an example in the NBA that we can all point to as a case. I'm like, Jonte, motherfucker. Hello, Jonte Porter. It's crazy. But check out the new Unguarded podcast. It's fantastic. Fred unguarded and with his opinions, and he's speaking on a whole bunch of stuff. He talks a very, very little bit amount at the end of it about ICE murders. And but he's staying on the fence. He doesn't want to say anything about it as far as denouncing it. You can look at there's so many different NBA players coming out right now, coaches, players speaking out about what's happening in Minneapolis with the murders of Alex Preddy and Renee Good. And the other side is delusional. They're trying to make it justified and say no, they got what they deserved. Absolute horse crap. You are demons walking on earth. If you think that the murders of Good and Preddy were justified, you are definitely brainwashed to the Gestapo MAGA side of things. If you're justifying the murder of innocent U.S. citizens on the streets of the United States right now, then you think they deserved it and they shouldn't do this. All you gun nuts that were Second Amendment that say that Preddy shouldn't have had a gun out there, you're hypocrites. You are fucking hypocrites, is what I'll say right now. That's right. Badass Dylan. Badass Dylan. Kestra's saying, gotta admit, the Knicks are deep and everyone's available. Hopefully the Kings wore them down last night. Yeah. But they're faltering and they've had team meetings, players only meetings, because they've lost a lot in the last month. They've lost more than they've won, Kespra. So this is a different time in the season. They were rolling when we saw them the first two times. They're not rolling as much at this point, and they are susceptible. And we are actually playing better than we did when we played them before. So this should be a very interesting game tonight. I have full confidence in the Raptors to beat them. It's just that we may have to beat them and Mark Davis tonight. So we'll just have to see. Most saying CMB on Team Mello, Glorilla in the celebrity game. Yeah, we talked about this in the comments in the other section, I think. Yeah, Glorilla, Brandon's girlfriend's going to be playing in the celebrity game on Friday at the All-Star weekend. And Shams will be playing also. Seymour saying 2026 going to be something. Learn to hold down your rage because this year is a rage bait year. Don't crash out. Listen, we got to take in the information and stay educated and informed. But also at the same time, you got to, in some ways, deal with your emotions about it in a healthy way. And getting all messed up with stress and anger in situations that you can't control is tough. That's one of the tenements in Buddhism is like if you suffer for something you have no control over, that's your own damn fault. Now, that's the thing. When I feel anger and disappointment in current events like ICE and things that are happening with the Trump administration, I understand what I can and can't control. I can control things I say on this channel. I can control the example of a person I am in life and trying to be the kind of person that you'd want more in this world. You can control certain things and empower yourself in that way. If you're really pissed off about things that are happening, go do something about it. Protest, call your senators, boycott companies. There are things you can do and you can empower yourself in these situations. Feeling helpless and just getting upset and just like, I can't do anything is nihilist and stupid and totally negative. There are things you can do. So the best thing to deal with the rage and the anger towards the injustices and the travesty that the United States is becoming is to empower yourself by doing an action that actually can help. That's what I say. And everybody can do something. It doesn't even matter if you're in the States. Like I said, we can buy Canadian beans. We can support our own economy. We can support the Americans that are protesting this fucked up fascism in the United States from afar. We can do stuff to help. We can help be part of the truth in the media because the American media is lying and totally doing things to help them. Meta is censoring different things. TikTok is censoring different things, doing things to help the president in the ways that he wants with propaganda and information. Well, on the outside, we can tell the truth for the Americans from the outside because they're getting lied to left and right and brainwashed, and they don't even realize it. So sometimes, we need to tell them, well, that's not what's going on, and the rest of the world can see what's going on, but y'all are being lied to by your own government. And we need to make them realize that and understand that. Dumb people down there People that hate people and are racist, they're going to get in line and love all the ICE stuff. And they're the worst people in the world. But there's a lot more people in the United States that are good people and have the right values and the right ideas about society. And they need to know where they're being lied to, because some of these people, and a lot of the comments online are bots. They're not real people. If there's a push up here in Canada to get more Canadians to support ICE kind of stuff and that kind of stuff up here, fuck those people. Fuck the Separate Alberta people. Fuck the trucker convoy, anti-vax platform people in Canada that are idiots and are more likely to fall into the traps of MAGA thinking. No, we don't need no ICE up in Canada. And anybody in comment section saying that kind of shit or trying to get towards that kind of stuff up here, no. We don't need to privatize healthcare either, because we see such a disaster of what it is in the United States. So it's like, come on now, Canadians. The Americans make a lot of bad mistakes, and they show a really good bad example of how to run their country and their democracy. And we don't need to take any lessons from them. Trust me, we do not. That's right. Nako saying Igor Demon is a goon. Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. He's got a goon name. But I'm not surprised by that. Yeah, let's get both wins. Yeah, I'm really happy that Elijah and AJ are heading to Florida and will be there for Andrew Jones. They need them bad, because then they'll have 10 players they can play instead of just 8 like they did in the last game. They need these guys bad. So Elijah Martin, AJ Lawson, go give a scoring punch to the 905 and get them back on the winning column. Seriously, that's right. Let's get both wins. That's right. Seymour saying this. He was scrapping last night, too. I like the fight in both clubs last night, but we, the Raptors, are better. Yeah, I don't even know what you're talking about. You're talking about Dylan still? You're fixated on Dylan right now. That's what's going on. Jimmy's here. Good morning to Jimmy Pope, the Pope of Positivity. Let's beat the fuck out of the Knicks. Mark Davis will let us. I mean, I want to see this, man. We're running real good. RJ's back. We're pretty full strength. And, I don't think RJ played against the Knicks in that knockout game, did he? No, he did not. He missed the knockout game. He was hurt at that point. Yeah, we got to show Milbester and the rest of them exactly what we're all about at this point. That's right. We do. That's right. Seymour saying, oh, wait, I read that already. He's saying, I'm going to call my uncle in the Bronx. He's a big Knicks fan. I'm going to stir the pot. I'm going to poke the bear. Let's go, Raptors. All right, call your uncle just like you call me. I love that your name now says Seymour Pape 4 quarters. I love that, man. I'm going to give you a dunk for that, actually. That's cool. I just noticed that. His name has 4 quarters in it now. That's pretty cool, man. Seymour, you're at the Morris Peterson 24. It's Morris Peterson 24, one of the dunk leaders this year so far. Jimmy's saying this is a statement game. I want to see us come out on top with that narrative. It is a big game. All right, this morning, ESPN has ranked the Raptors on the power rankings at 8. We jumped up from 13 to 8, and a lot of it is that West Coast road trip, man. We jumped ahead of the Lakers, the Timberwolves, the Cavs, the Warriors, and the Suns, and that's amazing because they had us below the Warriors after we beat the Warriors last week, and I'm like, what are you doing? You're idiots. But now, ESPN, eat your words. You had us at 24 at the beginning of the season. Where are we now? We're a top 10 team in the East, in the whole NBA, at 8th. The 8th best team in the league is what y'all ranked us. And we're just behind New York at 7 and Boston at 6. And this is what they wrote up about us. Let's see their shade. It's Zach Cram. Toronto's first big Western Conference road trip of the season could scarcely have gone better. See, they even use a bad word in a compliment. Could scarcely have gone better. That's like a weird double negative, Zach Cram. Fuck you. The Raptors lost the first game of their trip against the Lakers, but responded with 4 consecutive victories of the Warriors, Kings, Trailblazers, and the defending champion Thunder. That winning streak boosted the Raptors into a tie for 3rd place in the Eastern Conference standings. And in their first game back home, they'll face the Knicks, the other team tied for 3rd in the East, in an important game on Wednesday. Yeah, number 8 in the power rankings. Who predicted that? ESPN never wanted to give that to us. That's a begrudging ranking of getting 8th in the ESPN power rankings this morning. Woo-wee! Look at that. At some point, they have to recognize That's what Darko said in the team meeting on Open Gym yesterday when he recognized Emmanuel for Player of the Week and also the two rising stars. That the individual accolades come with the team's success. The team wins, the team plays good, and all of a sudden, recognition comes out for Colin Murray-Boyles, Emmanuel Quickly, and Elijah Martin. And that is fantastic. That is fantastic. That's right. Kesper is saying All-Star Weekend is after the trade deadline. He'd be reporting on buyouts. Laugh out loud. Yeah, who knows? Shams is probably going to have to watch his phone anyway, just from habit. I mean, I think he said that to me. I'm not to me, to in an interview. He said that in an interview once where he said he's always got like 2 or 3 phones on him and he has to absolutely always be watching them. And I don't think he sleeps either. Like he tries to do normal things like eat meals and work out and go to the bathroom and the phone's like attached to him. So it'd be interesting to see how much he may be distracted from playing in this celebrity game because he may have to go and check his phone. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I get it that the trade deadline will be over, but is Shams ever really off for the whole year? I mean, he's always getting intel from front offices, I'm sure, even if it isn't an active trade period. So Seymour's saying this: the whole country of Australia is boycotting Allen Iverson for setting an event for kids with cancer and not even showing up, but got paid. Shaking my head. Well, that's pretty messed up. That's pretty messed up. That don't sound like that's right answer. What's going on there? What's going on there, Alan? That's not right. Yeah. Mr. Quasimodo's saying Towns will be a problem in the paint. That depends. That depends. I've never really thought of Carl Anthony Towns as a low post player. He's a 3-point shooter and he likes to dribble and drive. In some ways, I don't see them setting him up in the post a whole lot. Maybe they will. But even then, I mean, the thing that the Raptors have been doing with their defense and their helping and their switching and their doubling, you know, we could deny Cat the ball. We could even dare them to give him in the ball in situations that we want him to have it. But I'm not worried about him down low. I think that Scotty's played Cat pretty good straight up himself. Even with Jakob out in the other New York games this year, Scotty Barnes took that Cat assignment. And if you watch them against each other, it's not like Scotty looks dwarfed by him. He looks like he's pretty on par strength and size wise with Carl Anthony Towns. So I'm not worried about Cat. Cat's a pussy cat. All right, let's see. Kessler is saying the cash flow was about Hello and Welcome's video. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I get it. People got to hustle. People got to make money. In some ways, I live in a world beyond the whole idea of money. In some ways, there's something that I don't value. And Fred talked about people like me on his podcast. You know, some people get money hungry and they just want more and more and more. It's a sickness, honestly, in some ways. To me, you should just need what you need to get by in your whole life. And when you don't make money so central and so important in your life, man, you're so much happier. Just trust me. There may be a post-capitalist world that we're going into in the near future where it's going to be a very different feel about money concerns. And just imagine that. Imagine if you lived in a world where you didn't have that over you, where that is the thing that just it rules everybody's lives. You know, you need to do this to do this. What if that's all bullshit? What if you didn't need to do that? What if AI and robotics replaces most of the workforce and most people are not going to be able to work? Well, some people want them to die. Some of the people will try and get them to die by taking away their health care and their houses and hope they freeze on the streets. That's not very humanistic, is it? No. If we really want to take the power back, the people need to get people in charge that will represent the people and do things for the masses and for the greater good. And in some ways, that movement is towards universal basic income and the ability for people to have a floor income where all their needs are met, their basic needs. But this is the secret of capitalism, is that they need to make you feel scared to be homeless. They need to make you feel scared to put food on the table or have a gas bill or electric bill paid. If you have all that given to you like they do in European countries, you're happier, you're healthier, you're more educated, you're able to do better things with your time. And it's working in other places. It's just that the American system is a lie and they tell everybody this and they like their racket and they understand that if they don't make people feel like they're in this crunch financially, they won't be able to manipulate them to come in and work for cheap ass labor and get the spoils off of them as corporations and business owners. It's a really screwed up system that was screwed up from the start, because in some ways you're robbing people of their time for menial earnings and their life. Seriously. And the whole new world that we're going into, well, what philosophy are we going to have on this? How are we going to look at this? Because in some ways there is a post-work world coming, guys. And you know, it's going to come over time more and more as time goes on. How will we adjust to it? How will the growing pains look? How many people will we allow to die? That's the kind of thing right there, man. Yeah, go ahead and get your hustle. I don't respect hustle. I don't respect Fred's mentality. I mean, he got 40 million a year. In some ways, he did it. And it's not that I'm jealous. It's just that I believe what Jay-Z said, more money, more problems. And in some ways, the simplest way is just take care of your own needs that you need, and that's it. And don't be extravagant. And then, you know, money is not as important in your life. You're less stressed and you're okay. I mean, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. Raptors Champs is saying, good morning, Raptor Freaks and Champs. Lex, I noticed Quick and Grady's relationship is off. When Raptors celebrated in OKC court, Quick was hyped with every player, but Grady, or something like that is what he's saying. Let me see. Where's that comment? Except for Grady. You know, there was footage of going around in the locker room and dapping people. And there was a part after that game where Emmanuel dapped Grady, and it seemed like a little awkward. Listen, I'm not going to read into this. I think that what happened with them was Grady was a rookie, and Emmanuel came to the team halfway through the season, and they hit it off. And very early on, Grady and Emmanuel were like this. They were very tight. You saw them on each other's TikToks, and there was a lot of Emmanuel quickly talking up Grady, you know, kind of like Grady is this, Grady's that, and like speaking him up. But that kind of fell off at some point over the last year or two, where it's like you don't see them as chummy. Now, I'm going to say this, just because it seemed like they're not as close, and maybe they are not totally cool with each other. They're professionals and they're teammates. And when it gets down to it, you know, that's the thing that supersedes any personal feelings about each other. There's many, many times in the history of the NBA where teammates were not cool with each other, but they were fine and nobody ever knew it. Nobody ever knew it. Now, I think we're ultra sensitive to this once again because Grady's struggling so bad, and we want answers for why that's happening. And we're grasping for answers. And I don't think this is what this is. I think that Emmanuel and Grady are fine. I think that their relationship did change. It's not as close, but they're probably very cool with each other and they're fine. And it's overblown, is what I would say. We can micro look at every little interaction between each Raptor teammate and try and assess who likes who and all this stuff. Yeah, sure. I pay attention to this too. I go look at the Instagram stories and I go see who's celebrating who or putting each other on blast, because that's a sign that this person supports this other person. And in some ways, I am silently keeping track of that kind of stuff. And yeah, there is a lot of evidence to show that Quickly and Dick are not the closest of teammates right now. But I would say once again, they're both professionals. And as Seymour was alluding to their religiosity, they're bonded through that because they both have a very strong belief in Jesus Christ and being Christians. And you know, as far as his whole spiel about, you know, Grady's more urban hip hop, like current affairs, and Emmanuel sheltered and does not listen to current music. He's not interested in the drill rap or any of this crazy shit that comes out. It's absolutely not good music, honestly. A lot of it is really crappy, honestly. But you know, Emmanuel's listening to jazz, he's listening to Christian gospel, he's listening to old school stuff more than the newer stuff. And in some ways, that's part of how he keeps his Christianity and his purity and not falling into, you know, just dumb kind of like culture, you know, that's not it's not productive, it's toxic. You know, I get that. I mean, there's a TikTok or a film of Jacoby filming Grady in his car yesterday, and he's listening to like some quack quack duck song in his car or something like that. I didn't get that, man. What was that all about? You know, I don't know. I think that in some ways we're overanalyzing it. We're looking for stuff, and I don't think anything's actually there. I don't think it's actually any kind of problem. And I think that part of it is just a manifestation of Raptors Nation wanting answers for why Grady's playing bad, and where does Emmanuel fit in there? And let's go ahead and get on Emmanuel and make him look like a bad guy with some filling in the coloring book with their own colors of what you think it is. People were already mad at Emmanuel. They wanted to get another reason. Let's make it up that he is messing up Grady's year. That's what I feel like that is. 1,600. I don't even know what that is, man. Jimmy's saying Raptors champs. Let's not do that. Yeah, yeah. Popa positivity's right. In some ways, we don't know. We don't know. We can speculate, but in some ways, what's the point, right? Instagram stories. Let's go look. Norman Powell returned to Portland, Oregon for a road trip game against the Miami Heat. Of course, they played the night before we played Portland. And well, thank you, Miami Heat, once again, and Norman for coming through. There's Jacoby's video of Grady in the car listening to the weird song and looking kind of like a psycho. It's like, what are you doing, Grady, in that car, man? And there's Jacoby with some family up here in Canada, staying warm in the Canada Goose jackets. That's right. Let's see. Coach Andrew Jones has the picture of the guys at the alligator farm, and Andrew's holding the alligator there. And there's the whole 905 team: Julian Reese, Tyson Degenhart, Jarkel Joyner, David Roddy, Olivier Sarr, Patrick McCaw, AJ Hogarth. They're all there in the team photo at the airboat place where the 905 had a team bonding experience in Florida, holding little alligators, guys. They were like holding alligators and stuff. It was really weird, man. Really, really weird. Let's see. There's Darko talking to the team while they're eating, announcing Emmanuel Quickly's player of the week, stuff like that. Very, very cool. Let's see. What else do we have in the Instagram? Let's see. What is this? Pascal is talking about trivia for change through the PS43 Foundation. And he's talking about the reasons why he's doing PS43 to help the next generation with education and opportunities to get access to stuff to help them. And man, Siakam's a saint. We love him. Elijah Martin is celebrating his Rising Stars selection, and that's going to be pretty cool. Their coach is going to be Austin Rivers, which is kind of weird. And yes, the former Raptor Ron Harper Jr. will be on the team with him. We'll just have to see what kind of role Elijah gets on that team. It's a small roster. There's only like 7 or 8 of them. And well, we'll have to see how Elijah does in that little mini tournament at the Rising Stars. Go G League and go Team Carmelo. Fuck Vince and fuck Tracy and their sorry ass teams. That's right. Fred VanVleet, latest episode of Unguarded is out yesterday, episode 8. Check it out. Seriously, guys, you're missing out if you're not listening to Fred espouse and all the things he's saying right now. He is talking a lot. And as the president of the Players Association and a person that's important in the NBA, he has a lot to say, man. He has a lot to say. He talked about the Laker controversy with Jeannie Buss and LeBron James. He talked about whether the LeBron era in the NBA is over because LeBron James didn't get voted to start in the All-Star game. There was a lot of really interesting, juicy subjects that Fred VanVleet is talking about on the new Unguarded podcast. He talks about winning the championship in Toronto. He talks about, like I said, relationship with DeMar DeRozan and what he thought of Dylan Brooks saying what he said. So yeah, very, very interesting stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. Casper is saying this. I wonder if they wanted to wait out Grady's slump before releasing that video. That occurred to me also, Kespra. This is interesting. I love this. Kespra is obviously a critical thinker, just like me. And he's like, why did they wait so long to put out this Gillette video with Grady Dick? And I think that that's one of the reasons why I came up with this. Like, maybe they're waiting for Grady to do better. That's hilarious. And that may have been by Gillette. That Gillette made that decision. Y'all can't put out the Grady interview while he's shitty. This is crazy because I literally thought the same thing yesterday when I was like, man, they probably waited for Grady to do better. That's probably what it is. Kessler, I'm giving you a dunk for critical minds think alike because I was actually thinking the same thing. This is crazy, man. That's so cool, man. That's so cool. This guy's thinking like I am. You got the Amir Johnson 15, my guy. You got the Amir Johnson 15. Man. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. We are on Kespra. He agrees. We agree with Jimmy. Fiercely saying, "Good morning, fam, and happy Wednesday." Just joining in. Crazy morning at work. Let's show the Knicks why we won over OKC. I want to silence Cat. He's annoying. Yeah, let's beat the Knicks tonight. We owe them. Let's beat them. They've had some controversies. They've had some toxicness. They've had some worries. They've had Knicks Nation in a little tizzy recently. They're not so all high and mighty. This has actually shown a pattern the last couple of years that the in-season tournament champion falls off after the in-season tournament. Like this has happened the last couple of years, whether Milwaukee or LA won it. They kind of go on losing streaks and get shitty after winning the in-season tournament. And this has happened again for the Knicks. The Knicks have had a pretty bad January. Let's just put it that way. Let's finish their January with an L. That's what I say right there. That's right. Yeah, tomorrow we'll have Milbestra on the stream. He's here today. He said hello, and he said it's been a little while, Raptors fans. And Milbestra is back in the stream. That's right. He is here. Stargate saying, remember, Fred is DeMar's rookie. Yeah, of course, they're very close. And they're very close, just like Kyle's very close with Freddie. And once again, Fred, I mean, I get it that you want to protect the legacy of Chris Bosh, but Chris Bosh ain't trying to protect his own legacy. That's part of the problem. We need to get kind of feedback from a player that they give a shit about their connection to our team. And Chris Bosh has not done jack squat to really embrace his Raptors history, which is a shame because it's the bulk of his stats. It's the bulk of his work as an NBA player was on our team as far as like being the number one and doing what he did. And he was a third banana on Miami, even though he got 2 championships there. He's going to embrace the championship side of his career and be much more fully endorsing Miami Heat culture and being around the Heat team and doing Heat events and all that kind of stuff. He hadn't done jack shit with the Raptors. So that's Chris Bosh's own damn fault, Fred. And that's a cautionary tale for y'all, is that if you do want to get that Kyle Lowry treatment here in Canada, well, you got to show respect and show that you can come back and show that you're a proud alumni and that you don't turn your back on your connections to this team like Chris Bosh and Vince Carter have. Seriously, that shit with Vince Carter was all self-serving just to get the jersey retired. He came and did that stuff, and in some ways, he wanted us to kiss his ass. And he wasn't about really, in some ways, if he didn't have to be a Raptor, he wouldn't. Honestly, I'm serious, man. It's Vince Carter's energy about our team is wrong, and it's not the way it should be for all the accolades and the way we love him. It shouldn't be this way, man. It shouldn't be this way. Raptors champs is saying, I'm not doing anything but witnessing and observing. Lex brought it up prior. Yeah. And this is something we've been observing. And I mean, I'm not faulting Raptors champs for stuff like this because in some ways, this is the kind of stuff that we need to do as fans to kind of like see things. But I do feel like we're overstepping when we think that it's that broken. I don't think it is. I think that they're okay. It's just that they're not as warm and fuzzy as they used to be. You know how it can be sometimes. You become fast friends with someone and you're really close and you're hanging out and you're talking a lot and you're on the bus and you're playing cards and you're goofing around. And maybe somebody makes a joke and it's a little bit over the line and hurts somebody's feelings. And maybe there's a little bit of an uncomfortable period where you guys were like really tight, but then it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, I'm cool with him, but it's not like it was. I feel like that's what this is. And once again, the level of being NBA professionals is that they won't, even if they have any kind of like negative feelings or any issues with each other, they're not going to let them get in the way or have an issue or any kind of way, in any kind of way. And some people may look at it and say, well, IQ's not passing the ball to Grady. That's part of it manifesting. Well, I mean, it does seem like that has happened at times this year. But who knows? Maybe we'll see some more IQ to Grady in the games coming up, and it'll make us all feel better. Maybe that's what we need, Darko, is a play set where we see quickly setting up Grady Dick for success, and then Raptors fans will be like, oh, they're fine. Look at that. Look at IQ got Grady Dick a bunch of threes tonight against the Knicks. I would do that, Darko. If you're trying to do damage control and trying to keep your team as strong as possible, Give the fans evidence that there's no problem between IQ and Grady. That's what I would say right there. Jimmy's saying kind of funny how CMB was one of the last picked. Goes to show none of them have watched the Raptors this year. Chumps. Yeah, fuck Vince and Tracy. That's the thing that pisses me off more. Carmelo's never been for the Raptors. He has no connection to us. In fact, he's never really kind of like been glowing or nice to us in any kind of way ever. In some ways, I like Carmelo's a non-factor to me. He's just another Alex English to me. And in some ways, that's his place in the NBA. He's not a great, he's a great scorer for his time. And in some ways, just like Alex English and Rolando Blackman and Bernard King, he should be recognized like them and not necessarily like as one of the memorable guys going into the future. Paul George, same thing. And, they're not Michael Jordans. They're not Larry Birds. They're Bernard Kings and Alex Englishes. And if you're old NBA head, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But kudos to him picking Colin. And yeah, Colin going so late, that's a travesty in some ways. And I blame Vince Carter for being a half-assed, fake Raptors Nation person who, you covered our team last year, but you haven't come to do any games this year because you're not getting your jersey retired this year. And well, did you not know about our rookie from South Carolina, or you just like you don't want to have a Raptor on your team? Was that part of it? You guys were like, oh, we're going to not pick a Raptor because Tracy and I are former Raptors, and we don't want to have this and that with that. I don't know. I don't know what their reason was for avoiding Colin Murray-Boyles and for allowing him to slip so low. In some ways, if they had allegiance or any kind of feelings towards the Raptors franchise, maybe they wouldn't have let him drop so much and they would have looked out for us. But they don't. They don't have any any kind of loyalty to us. They don't. Neither one of them. Tracy will do a Gillette commercial with Grady. That's it. Yeah. Seymour got to call in. It was not a reaction stream. He's just calling in. Monique saying, so Lex, I do have the G League app. And yes, Lex, I'm sticking to Fred VanVleet podcast. Yeah, you should watch it. It's really good. I'm so appreciative of Fred of giving us this access to talk about life and the world and a whole lot of things. In some ways, Fred is guarded on Unguarded. It's not totally as advertised. There are definitely times when he is guarded. And his co-host is starting to grow on me. Kez is he's actually really good at jumping in and out with Fred and keeping the show going. There's a certain level of like you don't think he's a professional podcast host, but there are things that he's doing on that Unguarded podcast that are high level and very good. He keeps it going, and he's been very good with handling the calls when people call in and also keeping the show going with different things. So yeah, this show's getting better and better. And I'm glad that they do episodes pretty regularly right now. Now, is this show going to be on forever? No, it's not. It will probably go away when Fred is healthy. So we need to really enjoy and get the Unguarded podcast episodes while we can, because when he's playing again, he's not going to do this. He's not going to do this, guys. And Freddie on this podcast this week said very openly, once again, I've heard both these guys say this, and I've told Raptors fans this for years. They've always brought this up. Man, when they retire, I want them to come and coach the Raptors, Fred or Kyle. Neither one of those guys are going to coach. Neither one of them. Kyle said it recently when he came through and with Philadelphia and got his love. He's like, no, man, I'm not coaching. If I'm coaching my sons. In high school. I am not coaching anywhere near the NBA level. And Fred said the same thing in this recent podcast where he's like sitting on the bench with the Rockets and he's trying to help them by coaching from the sideline. And that's enough of a taste for him to know that he doesn't want to do it. Because in some ways, these guys are competitors. They want to play. They want to be out there doing it himself and have some control over it. When you're a coach, you don't totally have control. You have to trust your players to come through and do what you ask them to do. And Freddie don't like that. In some ways, he's a very like, you fucking fucked up. You didn't listen to me. All this kind of stuff. He's tough. And Kyle is too. And they don't have the ability to have the patience to deal with, young guys being knuckleheads and not following what they're saying. And in fact, he feels it a little bit from the younger players on the Rockets as he's sitting on the bench trying to help them from the bench and his injury sitting on the bench. So yeah, confirmation from Fred VanVleet this week. He will not become a coach, guys. Everybody's saying, "Oh, Fred, you're going to be such a good coach after your playing career." He's not interested, y'all. That man is not going to be a coach. He said it straight up this week. So everybody having these opinions about Kyle Lowry or Fred VanVleet becoming a Raptors coach somewhere down the road, pause. It's not going to happen. It will not happen. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah. Jimmy's saying, I just think it's weird making theories about a man not liking another man. That's some drama starting stuff I'm not into. I watch basketball. I'm totally with Jimmy, too. I'm totally with him. But I kind of described the phenomena. Everybody wants to know why Grady's all messed up, and we're trying to figure it out. It's like we're detectives, and we take the clues. Trevor's saying Lou Dort and Jeremiah got into a post-game fight last night on the court. Jeremiah? Who's Jeremiah? Who's Jeremiah? Full name answer. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Was a good friend of mine. Jeremiah, is that the rookie? See, I don't know him on a first name basis. I ain't even seen this man play. You're talking about Fears? Man, you got to tell me Jeremiah Fears, because I ain't known no Jeremiah but a bullfrog in a song from the 60s. Seriously, I don't know this player. He's nobody to me. I don't care if he got drafted this year. I've not seen him play against us. Have I seen the Pelicans play the Raptors this year? No. So it's like, I don't know who this man is. You can't be first naming people that I don't know yet. You got to put Jeremiah Fears in there. His full name answers on this channel always. I'm going to say that's who I think you're talking about. You talking about Jeremiah Fears? Because he's the only one I think it is. Could there be another player in the league named Jeremiah? I don't know. And I'm not paying attention to NBA news, so I don't know if it was Pelicans Thunder last night. I don't know. Lou Dort, you're awesome. You're awesome. Kessler was saying some people love projecting their own feelings on other people. When they see something that reminds them of a way they were treated, they will make assumptions, mostly negative, because those hit more. Younger people are the most vulnerable to this, or adults with a very traumatized past. This is spitting facts right here. There's a lot of this. There's a lot of projection in this world. We project a lot on other people. That's not fair, honestly. Some people are easy to judge from the outside, and you think you know their story, but you're absolutely wrong. It's crazy. So yeah, this is something that's natural in human beings, is to kind of project their own feelings on other people and think that people feel the same way as them, where that could be absolutely wrong in a lot of cases. Really, really interesting stuff here, Kesper. We're talking about psychology now. Talking about some psychology here. That's right. Stargate saying there are active fault zones beneath Lake Ontario. Yeah, that fight was serious. So serious that Zion had to pull Fears aside in the hall way back in the locker room. Yeah, you don't need to be coming in the league as a rookie and, you're going to pick Lou Dort first? No. That man may not be the biggest NBA player, but he's tough as nails. And you ain't going to be trying to mess around with Lou Dort of Montreal. No, Zion had to take him aside. Yeah, he had to let him know. Yeah, this earthquake was not far from me. Seriously, the epicenter of it was crazy. And unfortunately, they're saying there was no casualties and there was no real damage. It's just a wake-up call. It's like, wow, okay, that's the rumble of the ground. It really did make my whole roof kind of shake all of a sudden. And I was like, whoa, what is that? That's a really strong wind. No, it was the ground shaking underneath, Lex. Really, really, really out of place. I think that's the right word. It's like, wait, what was that? We've never had that before. Is this Japan or California? This is crazy, man. Crazy. Jimmy's saying, rest in peace to those innocent people. Yeah, in some ways, they're heroes. They get put on blast. I mean, the stuff about Alex Preddy that comes out more and more, you just see how much of a good person he was. And it's a travesty. This is the danger of fascist society, is that they will misrepresent you in death and call you all these things when the state-sponsored propaganda machine is putting out the narrative about this person to sewer them so that they feel justified in what they did, murdering him. And then you have all the followers of that side getting in on it and saying the ugliest, most macabre things that are absolutely unchristian and evil and satanic. This is the thing, man. This Alex Preddy guy was killed defending a woman, defending somebody who was getting pepper sprayed in the face, and he did not have a gun. They took the gun away from him. They're trying to say that, oh, don't come to gun with a gunfight with a gun. No, listen, if the right-wing people can be walking around with their guns all this time in protests, and all of a sudden somebody shows up like a nurse and they're trying to defend a woman and a middle of y'all assaulting her, and y'all shoot him, like you didn't even shoot him, like you shot him in the most callous way on the ground, laying on his face after you pistol whipped him 5 times, and then you shot him in the back of the head. That's a state-sponsored execution by the government. And well, you're going to piss the people off. You're going to find out just how much this does not work, this kind of barbaric kind of treatment towards people. In Iran, people are getting slaughtered by the thousands, but they are coming still. And that's because they know that the regime in Iran is wrong and it's going to fail in the end, and they will see it through. Don't think that this kind of shit won't happen on this continent too, if the powers that be that are in charge in the United States continue to press this bullshit. In fact, they're going to find out real quick. Hopefully they get voted out democratically, but I have no faith in the American political system at this point. That, we don't want to have to go to revolution in the French sense. No, we don't, but we will. If we have to, we will. Trust me. Trust me, we will. And you know what? Boycotts and walking out and closing down, shutting down business, shutting down the bottom line for corporations. Yeah, they'll start figuring out that, man, we need to start listening to these people too. And maybe, in some ways it's like, look, what do you want? Oligarchs, corporate oligarchs. You want to just kill us all? How do you have customers? How do you make money off of us, you parasites, if you kill us all? Seriously. Okay, so the people get pissed and upset and they're going to fight. Well, you're going to have to amend what you all are doing and change things, because the people have the power, and you're going to find that out again, over and over again. I love what Tim Walz did. The governor of Minnesota is an amazing man. He's a hero. And what he did was he deployed the National Guard in Minnesota, and he made them wear very brightly colored, different outfits than ICE. None of them were wearing masks, and they came out and they gave food and coffee to the protesters, and they stood between the protesters and the ICE agents and said, you're not touching any of them. That's good leadership. The governor of Minnesota sending his own National Guard out there to be holding the peace and protecting the people. That is what the government, and that's what the leaders are supposed to do, Donald Trump and your Gestapo Nazi wannabe motherfucking ass. Seriously. So kudos to Tim Walz to show this is the difference. These are the heroes. These are the people that are on the right side of things. And see, the other side will say, no, they're just supporting the terrorist supporting side. Bullshit. That's the people. That is the right side. That is America. That is the democracy. And y'all are the fascist Nazi wannabe motherfuckers that are endorsing state-sponsored murders of Renee Good and Alex Preddy. So yeah, you go ahead and be in your la la land, MAGA, and your bullshit. It's going to come crashing down someday, because we are the real Americans. Fight for the rights of every man. We are the real Americans. Fight for our rights. Fight for our lives. That's right. That's right. And Terry, you can roll in your grave, because I'm singing it for that. That's right. You can, Terry Bollea. That's right. That's right. Stargate saying Ed Malloy and Shea Flores were the officials in that game. Which game? Which game? You're talking about the fight? I don't care about this fight with Lou Dort and Jeremiah Fears. That's not Raptors news. That's NBA news. In some ways, Lou Dort, I care about him because he's Canadian, but in some ways, this is not important to me, guys. It's not important to me. Kareem saying, if we keep a fast pace against the Knicks, our small ball will overwhelm the Knicks. Nobody gives a fuck about Cat. I want to see the Knicks grabbing their shorts 7 minutes in. We need to win this home game. Yeah. I'm sure Darko and the coaches have a fantastic game plan for tonight. I'm sure, they're riding real high. They're feeling real good. I mean, from what it looked like at practice yesterday, the team is on an upbeat. They're feeling real good after winning 4 straight and beating Oklahoma City Thunder. Think about that. The plane ride back from Oklahoma City was probably very joyous, and they didn't probably feel that tired or fatigued. They're kind of on winning adrenaline. So, they had a practice yesterday, and from the scenes I could see, I saw Josh Lewinberg posted on Blue Skies video of Darko teaching Brandon Ingram more low post ways to catch the ball correctly. This has been a big, huge problem. When we try to post Brandon Ingram, the other team is getting in the way and messing up the entry pass to get Brandon the ball. So there's footage of Darko specifically teaching Brandon Ingram how to catch post passes better and little tips and stuff like that. And these guys, all the footage from the practice yesterday, they looked upbeat, they looked happy, they look like they're like, yeah, let's go, we're ready for the next one. And a lot of times when you come back from a 9-day road trip on the West Coast, you're worn down and you're kind of, ugh. But I think that the success of the 4 games in a row has really buoyed their spirits to be up. And this isn't the normal kind of return from an arduous long road trip. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Because the energy I saw at practice yesterday was high level, and people were peppy, and people were positive, and people were smiling, and people were working, and they were moving around real nice too. And what I saw from practice yesterday. That's right. That's right. Set the tone for the stretch. That's right. We're going to play the Knicks tonight, and then we play Orlando on national television, and that game's important too. And then we're done for the month. We've already banked in a winning month for January because we've won enough games already that we're going to have a winning record by the end of the month, even if we lose the next 2 games. So, yeah, we can get more on that by beating them tonight and Orlando the next game. That's right. Fiercely saying yesterday, Cat tried to post up Westbrook, and Russ held his own to the point Cat lost his handle and was mocked. I ain't worried. Just put Scotty on him or a strong, smart guard like Shed. It'd be great if Collins back because he could definitely help us with the physicality of the Knicks. In some ways, I think Colin, some of his welcome to the NBA moments have been against the Knicks and the Celtics and getting games against the very physical, scrappy, timed teamwork of these Atlantic Division opponents of ours. They call him Murray-Boyles. You got your introduction from the Knicks earlier this season. Well, now that you know a little bit more about them, if you're returning to the lineup tonight and you're healthy, well, let's see you put that apply the things you've learned since then, because you've grown since we played the Knicks in the knockout round of the in-season tournament. And I think that it's time for you to show them how you've grown in some ways. That's right. I'm all about this. And, I was disappointed in Russ last night because I feel like he let DeMar down. He did not shoot well, and he didn't get to 20 points, and they needed somebody else to help with the scoring to match the Knicks. And the Knicks have a couple guys that are getting around 20 points. Meanwhile, DeMar's doing everything himself for the Kings, scoring almost 40 points, and Russell Westbrook's bricking everything. So a little disappointed in Russell from last night's game. He should have helped them. Kareem's saying this, Bobby should be outside in Jurassic Park saying, fuck New York. It's too cold out there. And in some ways, that's Masai's move. I don't know if Bobby's going to be doing any F-bombs like that. I don't know if he's going to be doing any F-bombs like that. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah. Stargate saying, if you have no confidence in yourself, you are twice defeated in the race of life. Marcus Garvey. Quote of the day. That's interesting. There's a healthy confidence. You don't want to be arrogant, but there is a self-assured, silent confidence that people should have. And, that's what true masculinity is. If you're talking about masculinity and being a man, is having confidence in yourself, but not to the level of arrogance where you need to belittle other people, be loud, boisterous, or threatening. And that the best real men in the world are the ones that instill security, safety, and peace. The ones that when they're in the room, the women feel a little safer because this is somebody, if things go crazy, they know will do the right things to help them out. And they're trusted and they are confident men, that the strong, silent type. That's the thing. There's a lot of jackasses out there that think they're real men, but their toxic masculinity and their bullying and their need to put other people down to prop themselves up just shows how shallow and unconfident they actually are. So it's like Marcus Garvey is talking about them. They have been defeated in life already, even though they think they're all high and mighty and badass. But their toxic masculinity and their need for constant approval that they are a man by doing toxic ass shit just shows how unconfident they actually are. Yeah, good quote of the day, man. I'm digging this new segment, Stargate. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Kareem saying this: I played sports all my life. You're not going to be best friends with everyone in the locker room. It's normal. Some people like Quick, Dick. Some people like Grady and Emmanuel. They are work buddies. I have no clue what the fuck I'm talking about. Go Raps. Okay. No, he's right. I mean, listen, I think that they really were really tight in the beginning. It seemed like Grady and Emmanuel were really, really, really tight in the beginning, but they're not as close at this point. Some of it is that, as much as you don't want people to have an internal competition and think about, well, if Jacoby's getting those minutes, what is happening to me? Kind of thought it's going to naturally happen. And, there's different people on this team that have different connections and friendships. There's a very strong bond between the former Knicks. There's a very strong bond between Scotty and Jonathan. There's a strong bond between RJ and AJ. There's a lot of different strong bonds. And in some ways, there could be possibilities where different players are trying to help some of their best buddies on the team. Like Scotty may be advocating to Darko, why don't we start Jonathan? He might say that sometimes. He probably has said that in the last couple of years. But in some ways, some of the ways that may manifest may look like shunning or shutting out somebody. It's like Emmanuel's coming down the break. He's played more years with RJ. He may be looking to throw the ball to Barrett over Dick, who's on his right. Stuff like that. It may be familiarity. There may be a little bit of directing water to try and help people that are close to you. I'll admit with that. Reggie's here. Good morning, Smooth Brown Man. Regarding Brooks and DeMar, Brooks is the next level guy. I can understand his vibe. DeMar admitting the Raptors couldn't beat LeBron was weak, even if he knew it. Never say it. Fred did diss DeMar for that. He said that he was wrong for saying some of the comments he said after when we lost. I didn't think that, though. I never thought that, though. It never struck me that DeMar said some of the comments after losing to LeBron as being a bad thing is in Raptors land. Like I was just like, you know what? He's just dealing with losing to LeBron and how frustrating this is. And I can't get mad at him. In some ways, I'm ride or dying with him, whether we win or lose. And even if he made some comments that were off-putting, I mean, Fred actually said that those comments were wrong, and he didn't like that he said that. So that's interesting. It went over my head at the time. I wasn't like mad at DeMar. Maybe I was too busy in my feelings about the Raptors being out for the year again to get mad at DeMar in his post-game conference, and because he said some comments, a defeatist attitude about LeBron James. Well, how many years did we butt up against him and lose? And would it be natural to kind of feel that after having this happen so many years in a row? I mean, I don't know. There are a lot of people that had problems with some of the stuff DeMar said, but does this supersede the greatness and the achievements and the things he did for our team? I don't think so. That's kind of like a distracting talking point. Well, he said all this loser shit after we lost to Cleveland. I mean, what he said a lot of other things too, like, "Don't worry, Toronto, I got you. I got your back." He did a lot, man, and Fred said it right. Exactly. It's like nobody respected the Raptors until DeMar DeRozan, Masai Ujiri, Kyle Lowry, and Dwayne Casey came around. There was not much respect for the Raptors franchise at that point around 2011, 2012, 2013. Boom, we started getting respect coming in, and then it built and built and built, and it's built to the day that we are at today. That is right. That is right. Stargate saying Cat is a punk ass little bitch. Jimmy already exposed him as such, and now OG is basically the same thing. Anyone who could get OG that pissed off must be annoying as shit. Yeah, I don't know. The problems underlying for the Knicks are their problems, and we'll just see how things go down the road. Apparently, there's more and more problems surfacing with the Warriors, that there's a lot of toxicness in the Warriors franchise on the down low in all kinds of different ways. All kinds of different reports coming out on them. That's crazy. Yeah. Mr. Quasimodo's saying, I have a VC jersey, still cherish it. Yeah. When you were buying VC jerseys, I was buying Keon Clark jersey and a Jerome Williams jersey and a Muggsy Bogues jersey and an Alvin Williams jersey. I never bought a Vince jersey. because that's like normally I just don't get the big guy on the team. I like to celebrate the secondary heroes, the guys that are kind of like fan favorites or guys that just, everybody has a Vince jersey. That's why I never bought it myself. But you go ahead and cherish it, Mr. Quasimodo, and cherish the memories and enjoy the Vince Carter experience in Air Canada. I can appreciate him for his part in bringing Canada to the forefront with basketball, but I also don't appreciate him for a lot of different reasons. So in some ways, I can be neutral on him. Sometimes I'm very celebratory and speaking positive of him. A lot of times I'm negative and not talking nice about him. So I'm kind of in the middle with Vince. Last year he was good with me again, but this year I'm decided no, he's the same. He's just reverted back to things. He was only nice last year to get his accolades, and in some ways it's annoying. It's sad, honestly. Kessler is saying, well, actually, Vince at least kind of looked like he regretted that he couldn't get Colin after Melo swiped him near the end. Well, that's his fault. He shouldn't have done that. I didn't watch the draft myself, and I just saw the results. And that's all I can opine on. Stargate saying, yep, Bernard King, Alex English, Glenn Rice, those type of players. Guys that were amazing scorers, that scored a lot of NBA points, but they're kind of forgotten in the ages. I feel like Carmelo's like that. Carmelo could be remembered for his Olympics and his Olympic achievements, but not for his NBA stuff. His NBA career is just a bunch of points, and there's not a whole lot of accolades otherwise, to me at least. I know a lot of players will be like, oh, what? You don't respect Carmelo Anthony or Paul George? No, I don't. I do not. I do not respect them. I do not. That's right. That's right. Most saying W stream, W vibes, go Raptors for life. Keep at it always, Lex. An hour and a half in. Not bad. Maybe I can get done in 2 hours. That'll be good. Raptor Freak Cruise strong forever. Just help me limit the comments. Let's keep climbing. That's right. Mr. Quasimodo saying, always be careful when hyping your players. Evil eye exists. I mean, this is true. In some ways, it's like there's all kinds of things. I don't want to worry about freedom of speech. I feel like if we're in a free world, we should be able to say what we want to say. And that's the scary thing is like, are we going to be allowed to say what we want to say still in this world? Or is there going to be all kinds of crazy walls closing in on us to think exactly the same, all of us, and that it's ordained by the government what we have to think? That's what they want. The Trump people, they want to tell us what the world is, what everything is, and they make the rules and they make the perception, and nobody has free thought anymore. That's fascism. So as long as I'm still allowed to free speech, I'm going to free speech courageously, even if it's a dangerous time to do that. I mean, there's actors and performers, musicians, creatives that are saying, I've never been in a period of time where it feels like it may not be safe to speak your mind. That's what freedom of speech and what America's built on. And people like Ethan Hawke are saying, like, I'm a director, I'm an actor. And in some ways, I have to have pause about how I speak right now because it seems like we're getting into a totalitarian fascist era where if you say things against Donald Trump, they're going to try and come punish you, which is what they're doing to a lot of people. So this is a dangerous time in some ways. It's very, very dangerous. Yeah, Blackhawk saying Dean Cain is no longer Superman. He is now into the end of time poo man. Superman was Christopher Reeve. And before that, George Reeves. Those guys are real Superman. And Dean Cain had nothing to do with it. He was on some farcical, dumbass show called Lois and Clark. And yeah, he's a nobody. And he's a loser, honestly. He's an overweight, middle-aged loser at this point. And yeah, I agree with this. Christopher Reeve is the real Superman, and he always will be forever. That's right. Trevor J saying, why y'all think Quickly and Grady having problem? You all want it to be a problem? It's not Quickly's fault that Grady is not shooting the ball well. That's Grady's problem to get the ball in. Yeah, I can agree with Trevor here. It's just that this is a topic and we need to talk about it because people have brought it up. It's on Reddit. People have been hypothesizing that Emmanuel's hurting Emmanuel. Emmanuel's hurting Grady, and that's why Grady's not playing so well. And in some ways, this is a subject we should try and investigate and think about it with critical thinking. And I think that it'll go a long way if we see some plays interacting between Emmanuel and Grady on the court to shut up a lot of this kind of noise. So maybe we can make that so. Darko, Emmanuel, and Grady. Let's see some nice, fun team play between the two of you guys on the court. And we say, oh, look at that. They just helped each other. So they must not be mad at each other. That's what I want. That's a good way to calm that noise and quiet it down real quick. Wayne's here. Good morning to Wayne. Morning, Raptor Freaks. Game day. Good test tonight. You're right, Lex. It's good to give things a break. Like when your channel starts speculating on Raptors locker room relationships. Not my business. Well, you know what I do here? I am presented with comments on my channel, and you guys bring me the subject material a lot of times. And, if it's a topic that is needed to be talked about, well, I'm not going to shy away from it. And we should go ahead and look at it. It's not that I'm going to put a clickbait title on my stream and say Emmanuel and Grady are not getting along or something like that, or feuding. No, I'm not going to try and entice people to come here for that. But we do need to analyze it and talk about it. And honestly, I think it's a molehill that's getting just blown out of proportion. I think that it's not any different than anybody. The relationships on the team are varied, and none of them are toxic or wrong or bad in the least. It's just in some ways people want to figure out why Grady's not playing well, and Trevor said it right. He's just not playing well. He's just not playing well. Monique's saying, "I'm taking my sister to the game. She's an ER nurse, so she barely gets time off." Man, thank you to Monique's sister for her service and her job and what she does. These people are heroes, just like Alex Preddy. He was an ER nurse also. And, I'm so glad she gets time off to come to the game with you tonight. And I know she's going to bring that good energy to help y'all to help y'all root for us to win. So yeah, good stuff. Thank you for your service to Monique's sister, for what you do in your job. It's a very good profession, and we appreciate her for it. That's right. Enjoy the game. And fiercely saying at Wayne with his usual passive aggressiveness. I love it. No, I like the Sergeant at Arms is kind of saying, basically to me, is watch out, Lex. We're straying into the gossip kind of tabloid kind of content that Raptors makers will do sometimes, and it's not necessary. I agree with them. I agree with you guys. In some ways, I don't want to talk about Grady and IQ. In some ways, it's what's the point, right? What's the point? Smith saying, like, if you believe you can't beat the other person, that's 50% of the battle you already lost. Yeah. Yeah. You have to believe you can do it. And, that's part of the whole thing, too, is like some people are saying we need to, in the United States, they're saying we just need to stop protesting. Don't get in the streets that you're asking for if you get out there. Well, that's losing right away from not even showing up. So everybody is saying, well, the best thing you can do is just stay home. Don't protest. No, no, and no. In some ways, if they're going to have a chance to win and they got to win, and I believe they can win, they got to do this. And people that are saying just go home, stay home, you're cynical losers who've already kowtowed and bent over for that bullshit fascism is what I believe. Like that. Cynical people will say, you don't want to worry about getting hurt at a protest, don't even show up. Well, the brave people that go out there and brave the -degree weather and do that, kudos to you guys. You guys are heroes, and you guys are true patriots. You're true Americans, and you're the ones who are holding the ideals of what that country was founded on more than the government itself. It's just how it is. It's just how it is right there. That's right. The other 50% is LeBron doing what he did. I mean, I get what you're saying with DeMar, but you got to understand, how defeated do you guys think they felt after running into that wall year after year? It was a tough time, man. And I know a lot of y'all were there with it and with me at that time, as far as like seeing it all as a fan and going through the whole experience of LeBronto. I mean, I can't get mad at DeMar. You guys got to understand, in some ways, you got to give him a pass for just being a real person and allowing himself to be honest and vulnerable. Even if what he said sounded like loser talk and maybe pissed off some people. To me, he's just, in some ways, he was in his feelings after a defeat, and he just had to say what he had to say. He's just expressing himself. Does that mean he felt like that for the rest of his life as a defeated? No. No, he kept going to the gym. He kept coming to games, and he kept adding to his career points total to be one of the top 25 scorers in the all-time history of the NBA. So, I mean, it's all how you want to look at this, man. Wayne saying fiercely, I have seen it on the court with OG and Fred. That's on the court for the public to witness. With locker room, we are not there watching open gym and viewing who daps who is juvenile at best. Well, it is part of the windows for us to see stuff. And it is part of the job I do, Wayne, unfortunately, is I am ultra perceptive. I see patterns and often base a lot of my predictions and things that I think are going to happen in the NBA from this kind of insight. So it's unfortunately a muscle that I have to flex for part of what I do in different ways. And I get it. I get what you're saying. Fred had some interesting comments on team problems with players. Like he actually talked about an incident that happened on the Raptors, and I don't know who it was. He wouldn't let it be too clear. But one of the things that Fred believes in when he's playing the NBA is he doesn't want his teammates to show him up. He doesn't want a referee to show him up. He doesn't want anybody to show him up. And the referees don't want to be showed up, and other players don't want to be showed up. And sometimes a young player could come into the league and not know the rules or the protocol of that and show up a old vet, maybe like Jeremiah Fears and Lou Dort, and they get something for it. He talked about a story in particular with the Raptors where a player disrespected him on our team, a teammate, and he wanted to slap the shit out of him. He wanted to fuck him up in the middle of the game. But Fred said basically, I held it in. I didn't do anything about it because I knew if I did anything publicly on the court in front of the cameras for everybody to see, there'd be a problem. But as soon as they got into the locker room for halftime, the team and the officials, the coaches were already holding them apart because they knew Fred was coming for him and back there. And he regulated, he fixed it then. But he didn't do it in front of everybody. And this is what Wayne's talking about right here. So there is stuff that happens, and there may be stuff that's paid back or receipts that you don't realize happens in the locker room, in the back. Fred was even joking and a little bit on the Luka Dennis Schroeder thing that he wishes that the NBA should have a room in the back for players to work their shit out. Yeah. Yeah, where it's like is go ahead and have an unspoken word room where nobody knows about it and nobody sees what happens back there, but people work out their conflicts. Yeah, Fred was saying this. He's the president of Players Association. It's crazy that he said that. I was like, what is this, man? It's crazy. But yeah, Fred talking about skirmishes and fights in the NBA. Very, very interesting, his opinions on this. This isn't the last episode. This was episode 7 where he talks about fighting in the NBA. If you want to check out that episode and what he said exactly, you may be able to piece together who the Raptor was that he was going to fight. I have no idea. I have no idea how to figure it out from what he said. And in fact, he stopped himself before he said an identifier for how you could figure out who it was. He stopped himself. If I say this, you'll be able to look it up and figure out who it was. So he didn't say it. Kaloy saying this, I want to protest the snubbing of Jamal Shed not being in the Rising Stars sophomore game. Is there an NBA office in Toronto? Laugh out loud. This is awesome. I love this. Yeah. Jamal got interviewed, and what the fuck, Josh Lewenberg? What the fuck, Michael Grange? Y'all come right at him and say, you got snubbed. You got snubbed. This is the first thing Josh Lewenberg says to Jamal Shed in his practice interview yesterday. You got snubbed. And Jamal's like, huh? What? He's like, you got snubbed from the Rising Stars game. He's like, oh, that. Yeah, it doesn't matter to me. Those guys that got on the team, they deserve it. They're good. And, Jamal's just really like dealing with it right. I mean, I get it. I like what Emmanuel said. He said, they snubbed me too, Jamal, for quickly for the Rising Stars one year. They snubbed him too. So it's like, it's not a big deal. Sure. I think it's a joke that Cam Spencer and Reed Shepard and Jalen Wells are on the Rising Stars team, and Jamal Shed isn't. Yeah, but Shed was very graceful about dealing with it, and in some ways, he's like, "This doesn't matter to me. I'm just doing what I do in this league, and in some ways, this doesn't matter." But meanwhile, people are saying stuff like, one of the NBA experts, it was Brian Scalabrine. He actually said this. So the Celtics, he said that Jamal Shed is more valuable in the NBA than Trae Young. And meanwhile, the NBA is snubbing Jamal Shed from the Rising Stars competition, which is crazy, as Emmanuel said. That's crazy. That's crazy, is what Emmanuel said when he heard that he got snubbed. Yeah, Jamal doesn't care. In some ways, he's above it, and he's just going to keep playing and being who he is, the winning type player, the two-way player he is in the NBA. And, this kind of stuff doesn't matter. It's all bullshit and politics. But luckily, and Jamal deflected this, I'm proud of our guys that did make it, Colin and Elijah Martin. So Jamal Shed's just too smart to take the bait. And seriously, if he has any doubts inwardly about this, he shouldn't. It's all bullshit anyway. Honestly, it's all bullshit. Fiercely saying, I agree. And perspectives vary from one person to another. I also sense some weirdness, but in every workplace, we deal with the same. Let's focus on that one objective win. That's right. That's right. As long as it's not messing up team play, as far as I'm not passing to Grady or I'm not passing to IQ or some bullshit like that. We can't be doing that. That's right. That's right. So who's saying it's just on paper that the Raptors team was so good? Team was 15 deep. So good. So good. You're talking about what? The old Raptors? You got to be specific. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about exactly there. All right, let me get into my tabs some more and see what I'm missing to do. Raptors Reddit. Dare I look at it? I love what Darko said about Jakob. There's one guy I really like, and I would like him to join our team. His name is Jakob Pertl. It's so good, man. It is so good, man. Darko's so awesome, man. Yeah, these teams are crazy. Of course, we're rooting for Team Mello. We've got a couple Spurs on there with Harper and Castle, Donovan Clingan, Jeremiah Fears, who wants to fight, and Cooper Flagg and Reed Shepard on the team with Colin Murray-Boyles. So, yeah, that's interesting. I think the last pick in the draft was Kella Ware, but I'm not totally sure. And then, of course, Team Austin Rivers with Elijah Martin, Yannick Conan Niederhauser, David Jones Garcia, Ron Harper Jr., Sean East of the CBL, and Young Hansen on that team. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, Raptors Reddit. Sampson's on another Pacers podcast with Caitlin Cooper. Check that out if you want to hear Samson Folk talk Raptors and Pacers. Somebody's posted the salaries of the NBA and how the Raptors salaries are not crazy or over expensive. And there was even a post on somewhere explaining that the unlikely incentives of RJ Barrett, Jakob Pertl, and Emmanuel Quickly add up to a certain amount that will get us underneath the apron. I mean, Jakob is not getting his incentives because he's missed most of the season. And there's a huge chunk of our salary cap that's going to come off just because Yak has been out, y'all. So everybody's worried about the cap apron. It's silly because these incentives are not going to happen. RJ gets an incentive for making the All-Star team. Y'all think he's going to make the All-Star team? No. So that money gets taken off the cap. And ESPN's writing about it on an article about trade stuff. And the Raptors could trade Emmanuel and RJ and Yak is what they're saying in the article. And then the other team can enjoy the incentives coming off their books. Wait, what? So we need to trade these guys that are winning for us so that another team can get the incentives off the books to help them with their cap structure? No, motherfucker. We keep them here and we get the incentives taken off to help us with our cap. We don't even need to make a trade. It's like, hello. It's stupid, man. Yeah, Mamu posted this. Like when Bobby Marks posted the sophomore roster by draft pick for the Rising Stars, Sandro Mamu posted, shaking my head, where's Jamal Shed? Where's Jamal Shed? He straight up asked Bobby Marks that on Twitter. That's right. Let's see. Happy birthday to Omar Cook. Omar Cook out of Brooklyn, New York, played in the NBA for a couple seasons. One of those years he was on the Raptors. He played 5 games for us, and he averaged just under 5 points a game in 2004, 2005. So happy 44th birthday to former Raptor Omar Cook. Yeah, we're digging the bottom of the barrel. We get all of them, even a guy who only played 5 games for us. That's right. He's getting put on blast here. That's right. Let's see. Is there any breaking news about our Raptors on the thing? I don't see anything there right now. All right. Get your Yahoo Fantasy team set up. Big week this week. It looks like one of the marquee matchups this week is, let me see, what's the marquee matchup to me? Looks like Jason Dukes versus Kaz is a big matchup there as far as 2 winning teams butting heads. right there. Maybe, I got a matchup with Gerald this week, which is pretty intense so far. Pretty intense. That's right. Neil's saying it's clear that Melo picked for offense and defense. Yeah, I don't even know, man. We'll just have to see how this goes. In some ways, go Team Melo, go Team Austin, and Team Vince and Team Mac. Y'all can go suck eggs. You can go suck eggs. That's right. That's right. Team was 15 deep. So good. I don't even know what you're talking about. You keep saying so good and so deep. I don't even know what you're talking about. You're talking about the Raptors against LeBron. You got to be specific. Neil's saying it's clear that Melo picked for offensive defense. Yeah, you said that already, didn't you? I read that one already. Let's see. Stargate saying Maxime got snubbed too. I don't know. Renault, is he for sure an all-star? Rising star? I don't know about that. There's no guarantees. Was he starting all these games? Maybe. Wayne saying, I would hate IQ or Grady check us out, and here we opining on their relationship. We can debate it as a nonsense, do as it to make it clear we find it nonsensical. My imperfect opinion, of course. I mean, I'm with you. I'm trying to diffuse the situation, maybe by talking about it more openly instead of poo-pooing it and kind of hiding it. We can get more informed about it and seeing all sides of it. I mean, I get it. I don't want to be part of the nonsensical prattle and noise that Stargate goes on about all the time. But I feel like when there are toxic topics and things that Raptors fans are talking about, it's better to educate them and maybe broaden their horizons on seeing the whole big picture than just believing something to be true. So that's my goal right here, is to kind of debunk it, is not to enforce it, to reinforce it, or to say this is what it is. I'm trying to say that these guys are professionals, and even if they don't like each other totally, that shouldn't get in the way. So, and once again, I think Trevor's comment about Grady's just sucking right now, and it's making this kind of stuff come up is right. Is right. And if Grady Dick plays better consistently more and more, this should all go away, right? This should all go away. Kareem's saying, why would people want to trade Pirtle for his lowest value? If we were to do something that's stupid, we would have to throw in draft picks and more players. Fuck that. We got a great squad. Just get a serviceable backup center. Yeah, there's no trade that we need to make right now. In fact, I think it would hurt our team more to make a trade than actually help it, for sure. Kaloy saying this will go away as Dick is rising. Okay, cheap one right there. All right, I'm under 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and do the classic card, and we'll start to get out of here soon. Since I did an hour, half hour before, I'm going to still get done late because I did a part of my stream before and it didn't take. All right, this one, be fast. Be very, very fast. In some ways, I'll take real name answer more than the other name. So if you give me real name answer, full name answer, you get this one. So get it quickly here. All right. You can see it from there. You should be able to tell who it is. I'm not even going to bring it close. Yeah. Write the real name answer. You should be able to tell who that is from there. I'm not going to bring it that close. You don't need it. Yeah. I want the real name answer. I said that like 5 times just now, and you're not listening to me. So if somebody give me the real name answer, that's not how you spell his name. You guys aren't going to get it until you get it right. This guy is so important. You got to write his name. You guys don't know how to spell his first name? Seriously? You're calling him Dr. J's last name? That is not how you spell his name. Whoever spells it correctly first will get it. Nobody's writing it right. Nobody's writing right. I'm so sad and disappointed that y'all don't know how to spell one of the greatest players in the NBA's name, y'all. Seriously. Julius? No. Why do y'all think that's how you spell his name? Seriously, there you go. Slug Deezy's going to get it. Slug Deezy got it. His name is Irvin Johnson. Irvin Johnson. It says Magic on the card, but it's Irvin. EARVIN. Magic Johnson. Yeah, Irvin Johnson is what I wanted. Slug Deezy's going to get it, which is good because he got the first answer in originally. So, although it was Kareem got it in first, but he said Magic. And I said real name. So, all right, we're going to give it Slug Deezy. It's an easy card, so it's obviously 50 points. It's too easy. I mean, y'all could see it from far away, right? It's kind of interesting that we got Magic Johnson today. It's kind of interesting. All right, 50 points to Slug Deezy, the king of the classic card, on a card that's pretty easy, man. Look at him. There he is. Look at that. Look at that. Who's that against him? That's Nick Anderson. Nick Anderson, the first ever draft pick of the Orlando Magic's history, their first round pick in their first year, Nick Anderson. Yeah, you guys remember Nick Anderson? Yeah, he's cool, man. I like Nick Anderson. He was one of my favorites back then too, man. Yeah. Kareem saying he beat AIDS. He needs to release the handbook on how to do so. He didn't beat AIDS. He beat HIV. He never had AIDS. He didn't never let it get to that point. He has the HIV virus. And you want to know how to beat that? Have a lot of money and be able to buy the best treatments and drugs and also be a super world class athlete and have a very strong body and have doctors checking your blood cells and all this stuff constantly and overly looking out for you. And look, you're going to live a long, prosperous life even after an HIV diagnosis that everybody thought was a death sentence in 1993. Yeah. I mean, what? This is like 30 years later, and Magic is strong as ever. As ever. That's right. That's right. He is as ever. That's right. He beat HIV. And I think that the virus has very little percentage in his body at this point. Yeah. There's something to that. And in some ways, if they really wanted to do more with eradicating HIV, they do need to study Irvin Johnson. For sure. For sure. Dr. Sebi, that's how he beat it. Yeah. Dr. Sebi. Yeah. Kareem saying, was he basically the poster child for HIV? Yeah, he was in the mid 90s for sure. He was the most notoriety person. And it was such a huge thing because he was in the middle of his NBA career and he had to leave in the middle of it and take off. And he did come back after he had it. And Karl Malone said some dumb shit. But yeah, it's such an interesting thing, a truth to see. If you have money and you have the resources, you can be all right with this. That's what I'm saying, man. If we live in a world of justice and equality, the resources for everybody are available and we have abundance and we look out for each other and we get better outcomes in all kinds of different ways. You know, a lot of the darkness and sadness in this world is manufactured scarcity and just kind of like shallow people needing to feel above other people by feeling like they have more than other people, whether it's money or possessions or whatever it is. It's crazy, man. Yeah. Kareem saying the way he used to speak of having sexual relations with women is almost Wilt Chamberlain like. Oh, it is. It completely is. He has a book that he wrote shortly after his HIV diagnosis, that in the years after that, where he has a whole chapter about Showtime Lakers on the road and what they were doing. And it's insane. I mean, you know, before the AIDS crisis, before people were scared and safe sex and all this stuff and condoms, people were crazy. The 60s were wild sexually. And in the 70s, still. In the 80s, it started to change because AIDS and HIV showed up. But it hadn't caught up with some of the Ric Flair jet flying, high style and profiling kind of people like Irvin Johnson, who's a man who was on the road playing basketball and he could get sex wherever he wanted to in any kind of way. And you could read that chapter in his book and it'll blow your mind. It's the stuff teenage boys fantasies, the way that Magic was living at that time. Like serious Ric Flair stuff. Like multiple women throughout the day, like 5 or 6 women a day, like Wilt Chamberlain stuff for sure. That was going on. Absolutely was going on. And Magic really did partake of it. He's very honest about that, saying that you know, he was something on the court, but he really enjoyed that aspect of his life also, and even to the detriment of cheating on Cookie and doing all kinds of stuff that was not, you know, was toxic. It was very toxic in a lot of ways, and he knows that. You know, that life and the way he was living was not the right life, even if he indulged in it. Yeah, he knew that. He knew that. It's a very interesting chapter. You should go read it. You'd be like, "Holy crap, that it's very explicit." And very detailed in the way that the Showtime Lakers traveled and what they were doing. And he was the main guy. The other guys did it to an extent, except for AC Green. We have to justify that AC Green kept his virginity through the whole thing of this. But there's other guys, some of those other guys, James Worthy, Byron Scott, those other guys, yeah, they're doing it too. But Magic being the whole focal point, he was like the Ric Flair in the middle of it all, doing it like that. Because wrestlers were doing this kind of lifestyle too at this time, too. It's just how it was. It's just how it was at that time. Yeah. Cream saying it's crazy that he lived a full life. Look at him now. Such an amazing bio. Yeah. Yeah. He's an extremely successful businessman. And he's done a lot for the Black community in the United States with his Magic Johnson's theaters and different entrepreneurial endeavors. He's given a lot of jobs to people, and he's done a lot of amazing things. That's part of the reason why, I have a lot of respect for Magic. He's part of the ownership group for the Dodgers. And when they won the World Series recently against the Blue Jays, he had a very, very kind statement, and he was very appreciative towards the Blue Jays organization. And as a good winner, he recognized our season, even though we lost to them. And that's just a classy, top-notch, top-level human being in all kinds of ways. So, yeah. All right, let me do the rundown for the game real quick and get out of here. Tonight, the Raptors are playing. Colin Murray-Boyles is questionable. Jakob is out. Chucky Hepburn is out. We should be pretty full. There's a very good chance Colin does return tonight, guys. There's no injuries on the side of the Knicks. Let me go look and see what the ESPN matchup predictor is saying for the game tonight as far as who they see has the highest percentage of winning. Right now, their percentage is pretty even. They're saying 52% the Knicks will win, 48% for the Raptors. The referees in Osceola for the G League game, 905 versus Osceola Magic for the battle of the Eastern Conference G League top of the heap. Clady Mula is the crew chief. Brent Haskell is the referee, and Jessica Christopher is the umpire. In the replay center is Giamitas Petraeus, Jenna Renault, Jenna Schroeder, and Leon Wood looking over, seeing everything going on in the league. On site in the Scotiabank Arena tonight, the crew chief for the Raptors Knicks game is Mark Davis. Mark Davis favors the Raptors, and he is suspicious. So very much watch our old not friend, Mark Davis, who's already railroaded the Raptors towards a loss against Charlotte this year. Eric Dalen is the referee. He's a much friendlier, nicer ref to the Raptors, the big tight end from Minnesota. He favors Toronto. Biniam Maru is the umpire. He's a rookie. He's only reffed the Raptors once. We lost earlier this season when he reffed, and the Knicks are 1-1 with him. So 0-50 is the split for the rookie ref, Biniam Maru, who honestly, he might as well just be a Mark Davis mini-me out there as far as I'm going to say about tonight. So, yeah, there's your ref check for tonight. Let me get out of here, y'all. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak Channel preview for the New York Knicks versus the Raptors tonight. Hopefully the Raptors can get on the winning side against this team they have not beat this year. We're going to play them 5 times this year. And, well, this is the 3rd game, and they've already won 2 of them. So if we're going to try and win the season series, we got to win out the next 3 games against the Knicks. So let's show the improvement, Scotty, and come at the Knicks and beat their ass tonight. They've been sliding in January, and they've had a players-only meeting and a little bit of problems with their team. So time is to strike is now. Let's go get them. That's right. That's who the refs are. Yeah, Dennis Schroeder's wife. She's not Dennis Schroeder's wife, Jenna Schroeder. She's in the replay center. Anyway, right there. Yeah, all right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Remember, Sprague Cannery for your baked bean goods. And, just keep on keeping on. The good fight, free speech forever, and fuck fascism. Let's say with that, abolish ICE. All right, y'all. I appreciate everybody. I'll see y'all tomorrow reacting to the games tonight. Doubleheader. Let's get that double W tonight, Raptors. And I'd like to see 30 wins instead of 20 losses by the end of the night. And we're right next to them in the standings. So it's elevator up or down. It's up to you, barbecue guys and Notorious BI3. You guys go get that win tonight. Let's go. Raptors beat the Knicks. That's right. That's what I want to see. Let's go, Raptors.